And we are the other people. Now, speaking of some of the things, now, do you still, as an adult, a creative person, do you still find yourself seeking new music at all? Or do you mainly listen to music that you pretty much know?
I have this quarantine has prompted me to start listening to a lot of music that I like, but live versions of it. Because one, I haven't been able to get to live shows, but two, I love live music. So I've been going back and listening to a lot of live music that I love. But when it comes to like new music, I thought I would be discovering more new music.
Yeah.
But besides like TikTok, I really like I can't tell you too much of what's out there in mainstream. I can tell you what's out there like in the folk scene
Yeah.
and like a couple of these other like little niche scenes, but I can tell you it's like my sister the other day said, "Oh, do you know Billie Eilish?" I was like, "I've heard of her.
Yeah.
I know she's won awards, but that's about all I know about her."
I see what you mean. I mean, I know it's weird. I was going back, just looking up. It always intrigues me when people, like, I see a lot of parents and stuff, and maybe people our age or close to our age put stuff on Facebook about always, but it's always like older music. Hey, I want to go see, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I don't ever see anything new. You know what I mean? Like anything, even new as in the last 5 years, really. So I did some research, and there's many researchers have come to the conclusion that around 30 years old, most people stop seeking out new music, and they'll listen to music a lot of the times to recapture, like if they listen to an old song, if they listen to a Hootie and the Blowfish song, they're also listening to memories that are attached to that song as well.
So true.
And I think that is very true. But I
Mm-hmm.
also try to seek out at least one. I used to do it more often than now, but I try to find new music, listen to two new songs per week, just
Okay.
random songs. Or I'll go on Spotify and I'll have like a playlist, but it'll also give me songs that are, I guess, related to those other songs. Some I've never heard of, some I've really liked, but some aren't necessarily brand new songs. Some could be 20 years old, 30 years old, or brand new. Um, but I have heard of Billie Eilish. What's her last name? Eilish?
I think it's Eilish.
Eilish? Yeah, she always wears baggy clothes.
Yeah, she just kind of hates the world.
Yeah.
Her mother, so the reason why she asked me because her mom was an improv teacher at the Groundlings, and she
Really?
taught some she was with there with a few people, but she taught like Melissa McCarthy. She was like her first improv teacher. I think Kristen Wiig, she taught her improv.
Really?
So she was like a very, very big name when it came to at
Wow.
least teaching improv and
Yeah,
working in improv out in LA.
that's pretty cool though.
But you know, it's funny because like when I was working at a university residentially, I was a little bit more up to date as to what music was like. Like
Yeah.
I had some people like KJR and like I don't know a bunch of other like The Weekend. I'm really big into The Weekend right now. So I really got into that stuff. But now that I don't work there and that I'm more remote um, and not residential,
Yeah.
I just I don't keep up as much. And then every once in a while I'll get on like the Billboard Top 100 and just want to like look for stuff. But so much of it's just trash. I'm
Yeah.
like, but here's the thing though. I will say this. When I was a young buck as well, when I was in my under 30s, when I was like 18, 19, 20, the Billboard Top 20 or Top 100 still full of trash. It was just you gotta find it's so hard to find those like gems that are out there. And
Yeah.
there's like new gems that are like Weekend to me is like a gem
I like a few
that's
weekends.
out there.
I go on the Billboard Top 100 I usually check out all the charts at least once every month
Mm-hmm.
just to see. And then I'll go through and be like, how many of these have I actually heard of? But sadly, a lot of them I can tell you by the name of the title that they're not good.
Yeah, you really can. And then by the a lot of times by the name of the artist, you can tell they're not going to be good.
Plus, also, it seems like the musical landscape has changed so much now because I was reading something about um, yesterday how Hootie and the Blowfish they're selling out Madison Square Garden. I mean, not now, but not like last year, Madison Square Garden when they've not had a top 10 song or album in 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about how the music industry's changed, and when they first came out, it was the CDs, and then digital and all this kind of stuff. So it's really, if you look at a lot of the stars now, they're famous on, their TikTok, their Twitter, Instagram. It's all kind of blended into one in a way.
Yeah, it really is. It's really interesting too that you talk about Hootie. Have you felt yourself exploring any other genres that you typically wouldn't have explored in the last like few years, or in the last maybe even 10 years?
That's a good question.
To me, I've always had this fascination. I'll do mine first and then whatever.
Okay.
I've always had this fascination. I've always hated country music. Always hated country music. But recently, and I even have like a country music alter ego, which I've never actually shown the world yet.
Yeah.
But recently I started listening to a little bit more of it and some live versions of it. And now I think is the perfect time for my alter ego to explore and go out into the world.
Like now country or 90s country?
Now country.
Now country? Okay.
I think now country is just, it's so much more rock than rock is that I'm like, and it's cool because it's like rock with just a little bit of twang on it.
Little, yeah.
And I'm like, that's a good recipe. It's a really good recipe.
Well, that's interesting that you say that because in the Hootie article that I read yesterday, they were talking about when I think I froze.
You did it again. Right before you freeze, it goes to, I think I froze. All right, well, let's get back to the parallel parking situation now. Oh, we'll come back.
The article yesterday was talking about, they were like, yeah, if we were released today, we would be thrown into the country genre. Mm-hmm. So would the Eagles, they would be thrown into the country genre. A lot of the people like that.
Zac Brown Band. If Zac Brown Band was 10 years before, they would have been a rock band. They would have been with Hootie, and they would have been with all those guys.
Yeah.
But now they're country. They might be the reason why I started listening a little bit more to country.
You think so?
Because they are just, they're so good. His voice is so good.
I've listened to like not any particular artist, but I've went back and listened to a lot of 50s and 60s music that I haven't before. Nancy Sinatra, I've listened to a lot of her. Not a lot, but I mean, and also some jazz and orchestra music.
Wow.
So, yeah. Now, I don't really like a lot of the times I'll listen to whatever music, like my mood dictates what I listen to, because if I'm working on a sketch that's silly, I'll listen to a different kind of music than if I'm working on, a drama or, whatever. But yeah, I've kind of ventured into different avenues. I'll go back and, if I want to be nostalgic from when I was a kid, my grandmother listened to a lot of 90s country. So I have a lot of memories as being a kid, being the passenger, hearing, Achy Breaky Heart type songs on the radio. So it's not that I necessarily like those songs, but they have a fond memory because I have a good, memory attached to it. So, that's like I'll look up the last thing that I looked up, and I think it was just random stuff lately. Was let's see, 80s, George Michael.
Okay.
2006 to 2010 hits. A singer-songwriter named Greg Laswell. And 1995 Billboard Top 100. That's the last few things.
All right.
I typed in. And well, see, I looked the other day. I was thinking about the music thing, and I was like, there really isn't rock music much anymore. Not really.
No.
When did it kind of take the shift? So that's why I looked up to 2006 to 2010, and there was rock then, but not as much. Like the 90s and even up to like 2005 or 2006, and then after that, it kind of changed a little bit.
Yeah.
And then now it's just kind of
I would say even hip hop and rap turned to trash then too. Like hip hop nowadays, okay, there's always your breakout people, but if you look at the genre itself, it's just like lay down a beat and let me just like rap over top of it,
yeah,
which is just so boring. And it's so, but it's those artists who break out of that and they're like, let's make good music, and then let's pick a genre and our genre will be rap or hip hop,
yeah,
but it's good music. And I think in the 90s you had more of the good version and then a little bit of the just beat master, let's just
yeah,
rap over it. But then in the 2000s you had some great hip hop, I thought. And then now in the teens, it's turned into just like it's just all sounds exactly the same. It's all
well,
trash.